What is going on, YouTube? It's Konns Vlogs today, and we are back with another YouTube video, guys. That is right, we're back. And before I get into it, I just want to say thank you for all the support that I got on my last video of the Drive Road Rally. If you haven't checked it out, look underneath this video, head over to my channel, and it's my most recent upload after this one, of course. I got to meet a lot of cool people, see a lot of cool cars, get a lot of cool footage, guys, so go check it out. Just a big thanks to everybody who shared that video and everybody who watched it and subscribed as well. And if you're not subscribed yet, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like and tell your friends. I'm going to be talking a lot about my car in the coming videos. And also I'm going to be touching a lot on our 2016 Chevrolet SS with an LSA supercharger kit on it. But yeah, guys, today's video is not going to be focused around the cars per se. It is going to be focused on cars, but one aspect of cars that I have recently fell in love with, you guys, and that is car photography. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be going over my 5 best tips that I have found to help me take better car pictures, get me a lot more attention online, whether it be on Instagram, YouTube, even my own job right now involves taking pictures and making videos of cars as well. So this is going to be a bit of a series, you guys. Today I'm going to be focusing on 5 tips to take better pictures, and then in the future I'm going to be coming up with 5 tips to make better cinematic footage with cars. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. This is 5 tips that I have found to help me take better pictures of cars. So to start it off, the number 1 tip that I have for you guys, and this one's pretty simple, honestly. It kind of goes along with location and, you know, subject. It's plan out your shots, okay? So before you come and do a shoot, don't just load up the camera gear and think, oh, I'm gonna go out there, snap a few random pics, and they're gonna turn out fire. That's probably not gonna happen. I mean, it has happened a couple of times, and it will happen a couple of times, but for the most part, you guys, before you go out on a shoot, you know, look at some other Instagrams who you follow, who you like. You know, take note of people's styles and what you like about their pictures and what you don't. And then don't, I mean, I'm not telling you to copy somebody's pictures if you like them. Take things from their photos and learn from what you like and implement it in your own pictures. That's one of the biggest things that helped me in the beginning and still helps me today, is looking at other people and what they've done with their photos and then kind of trying to in some ways replicate it but add my own twist to it. That's the first tip, you guys. Super big. Plan out your shots. Do a little bit of research on what kind of shots you want to get. You know, for example, this shot right here, I just wanted to get the front end of my car. I didn't want a whole shot of the car. I just wanted to get the front end of this car. So I did, you know, and I found a couple angles that I liked, and this was one of them that turned out really well. Just things like that, you guys. And make sure that you have, you know, your subject in mind, what you're trying to capture and what you're trying to tell with the picture, because pictures in a way kind of do tell stories, you guys, and it can make people feel a certain way. And you need to figure out how you want the people viewing your photos to feel before you take your picture. All right, and then for tip number 2, you guys, this one is gonna be super simple for some people and super hard for others. This one is going to be, and I touched on it a little bit before, know your car. Just take a few minutes, again, just look around your car and think about some of the things that you would like to highlight on your car before you're out of the shoot. Maybe you wanna take a picture of your logos. Maybe you wanna take a picture of some stickers you have on your car. Maybe you want a certain badge, your wheels, I don't know, whatever it is, exhaust tips. Just make sure you have something that you kind of want to focus on. And that doesn't have to be that hard either. Just make sure that before you go out, you kind of look at your car, and if you do want to, you know, get your badge, my badge right here has some scuffs on it, you guys. I don't know if you can see it. But so I would not want to take a picture of that badge unless I was really confident that I could clean that up in Photoshop, which I'm not. So I probably wouldn't use that badge unless, you know, I really needed to for some reason. I'd probably use the back badge. Just make sure you know little stuff like that, because every car is different, you guys, and you're not going to be able to take the same picture of the same car and have it turn out the exact same way every time. The lighting's going to be different. The angle's going to be different. There's just so many variables. Your camera settings, all that stuff, you guys, is super hard. So before you go out, along with planning your shoot and the kind of mood you set with the photos, just take a second, look at your car, think, what are some cool things people would like to see, and how can I best implement those into a photo? Here's some examples, you guys. I took some pictures of my dad's car, and you know, I wanted to get his new taillights in on this specific one, and on this one I wanted to get his wheels. That's just 2 good examples, you guys. There's plenty of other ones that I've taken. If you want to see more examples of any of these things that I'm talking about, you guys, head over to my Instagram. Link is in the description of this video. Check it out. I've got a lot of cool pictures up there. Tip number 2 is know your car before you go out on a shoot, so you know how to make it look good in the photos. And that's gonna lead us into our third tip for this video, and that one is going to be know your camera. This one might be the hardest one of them all. It can be really confusing, trust me, I know, I've been there. And you know, I'm nothing special, so it's not like I know all the secrets or anything like that, you guys, but I do know a lot more now than I did when I started. When it comes to shutter speed, aperture, your ISO, stuff like that, and I've learned kind of how in different situations those settings can affect your picture, you guys, and it's different for every camera. I've taken pictures with a multitude of cameras, guys, and for some reason, like, you cannot just use the same settings for every camera. I mean, maybe you can if it's within the same brand, like maybe Canon's, you know, all act the same to certain ISO settings, maybe Sony's, you know, act a certain way to aperture, whatever it is, you guys. I've never been able to do that. I've been able to just, you know, copy and paste the settings from camera to camera and get the same picture in the same quality of picture, guys. So it's important to know that the main camera you shoot with, it's important to know how the shutter speed will affect you know, the pictures. You know, if you want motion blur on a picture and, you know, a car's panning, you're trying to get a nice panning shot or maybe a rolling shot, it's important to know how to use the shutter speed, you guys, especially once you start trying to take more advanced pictures like rollers and panning shots rather than just those still shots. And another one of my settings that I like to mess around and play with a little bit is aperture, guys. So you can, you know, choose what you want in focus. For example, in this picture right here, I wanted the car to be in focus, obviously, and I wanted, you know, the background to be out of focus. So I set the aperture, and then you can switch it and even have it focus on the background maybe and have the car blurry. I've seen a couple cool pictures like that. It's super important to get to know your camera, and the best way to do this is to just go out and shoot and just mess around with a bunch of settings in your camera. Just go out and just try different things, see what you like and what you don't and what you think your viewers are gonna like. Google up a video of your camera and figure out, you know, what the best settings are for certain situations and how they affect the pictures, you guys. So that is tip number 3, is get to know your camera settings so that you can get the best quality out of your specific camera. So now we're gonna go into tip number 4, and that one is locations. For me, this has been one of the biggest things and the biggest challenges for me starting off was finding locations to shoot. I live in a city, in a small town. There's not a lot of like beautiful backdrops around my house. I mean, this one's decent. I had to drive about 15 minutes to get out here. So it's important to have like go-to locations, you know, like I'm sure you guys have seen it on my page if you follow me. I'll post several pictures from the same place, and that's because those are good places that I can keep going back to. And when I think about going out and taking pictures, they're just default, which one do I want to go to? I've got, you know, about 3 or 4 to choose from, and I like it that way. However, I do want to hit on it's important to explore different locations and see what kind of backdrops you can create. I always think it's really interesting when you start messing with the aperture and stuff to see how the focus changes based on the lighting in your background. That's super important, you guys, and locations are just a big thing. If you want to, you know, if you want to showcase a product, or if you want to showcase your car or how beautiful the scenery is, it's important to know your location and your surroundings. And not only that, you guys, but you can use them, you can kind of use them as props, you know, to add effects, add depth to your picture. What I would say, just narrow down 3 or 4 locations that you know you can go to and you'll get some good shots out of, you guys, after you plan for going there. But also don't be afraid to try out different locations. So that's going to be tip number 4, you guys, is know your location. You know, plot down a couple locations you can always go to whenever you want to take some pictures and you know you can get some sick backdrops or whatever you want out of the shoot. And also don't be afraid to try out new locations, because old content tends to get stale. So I hit earlier on finding your own style, you guys, and that is my tip number 5 in a way. I'm gonna focus more on editing, because editing is honestly kind of overlooked for some people. I know I overlooked it a ton when I first started this. I thought you could just go out, pop a picture with your phone, you know, sometimes they turned out good enough and I post them. But guys, editing, you can really take a bad or mediocre picture and turn it into something beautiful. And I've seen me do that multiple times. Me and my friends go out, we shoot, we'll take some pictures and we're just like, ugh, dude, like we really didn't get any good ones out of the shoot. But no, we'll sit down, we'll take it into Lightroom and we'll, you know, change a couple of settings and whatnot, and voila, we've got some sick pictures and we know we can use them for our Instagram accounts. The app that I use to edit is Lightroom. I sometimes use it on my phone. That's the free version. That's actually what I started using. So you guys, you don't have to go out and spend like $100 on an editing software software, whatever. It does help to have those tools. I do use the subscription to Lightroom and the Adobe subscription for work, and so that helps out quite a bit, but you can use the free app on your phone and get pretty much the same effect. So you know, like there's a lot of settings you can mess with: exposure, clarity, texture, contrast, saturation, just a load of settings you can mess with even in the free version of Lightroom, you guys. And those kind of things, as you edit more pictures, you'll learn how to use those things to your advantage to showcase certain things. If you want to highlight your tail lights, you know, we turn up the saturation on the red a little bit, change the luminosity of it while toning down some of the other colors, you guys. Just make it look good and make it how you want it in editing, because that's how you're gonna find your style. Find out what you like, and I guarantee you somebody else is gonna like that, and that's how you'll start gaining followings on the social media sites and as you post these pictures, you guys. So just learn your style. Just whatever you guys want to do, make sure you think it looks good when you're done editing it, and just kind of mess around with the settings. Kind of the same with the camera. It's going to take time to figure out how exactly to edit pictures the way you want them to turn out, but I promise with enough time and dedication, you guys, you can find out your style of shooting and get pictures exactly how you want them. So in summary, guys, the 5 tips that I shared with you today, they will help you maybe take pictures of cars better, maybe help you take pictures of people better. And overall, you guys, I think what it comes down to is find your style and find out the kind of pictures that make you proud and make you happy and make you appreciate the stuff that you do. But in summary, the 5 things that I have shared with you guys was: number 1, research your shots before you go out and take them. Get an idea for what you want to showcase, the kind of shots you want to take, the mood you want to set with a picture before you go out. Number 2 was get to know your car a little bit. Find out what angles make your car look good. Find out what parts of the car you like to highlight, or maybe, you know, parts of the car that you specifically want to focus in on before you go out and shoot, going along with researching. Tip number 3, guys, was get to know your camera. This one takes a long time. Be patient with this one. It takes a little bit to know how your camera reacts to changing certain settings, but the number 1 thing you can do is play around with it and see what you like and see what you don't like. Tip number 4 was locations. Get to know the locations around you. Get to know the locations you like to shoot in. Get to know if you like urban locations, nature locations. Then mark a few of those locations so you can always go back to them whenever you need to get some content. But also don't be afraid to explore, because as I mentioned earlier, old content gets stale and nobody likes to see the same picture with the same backdrop every time. And tip number 5, guys, was editing. Editing is a huge thing when it comes to taking pictures. Get to know your style of editing so that you can start to replicate it, start to highlight certain things through your editing, start to make certain colors pop. Overall, just make your pictures more beautiful through editing. And the number 1 thing that I want you guys to take out from today's video is that you cannot listen to anybody else and expect to do exactly what they say and expect to take as good as pictures as them. You've got to find it for yourself, and you've got to find the style that fits you. I mean, you've got to find time to take the pictures. You've got to decide how much time you want to spend on the pictures. You've got to decide if you want them to be fully natural, if you want to be super edited. It doesn't matter, you guys. As long as you find out what you like in your pictures, somebody else will like it. You'll start to catch traction and start to grow your audience, you guys. That's the biggest thing that you can take away from this video, guys, is find your style and run with it. And with that, guys, I'm going to leave you. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button for more. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be making 5 tips to make better cinematic footage that I found. These are things that I have found personally through my experiences. So feel free to try them out if you want, and if you don't want to, whatever, find them out on your own, find out what kind of tips you like. But these are the things I found, you guys. Thought I would share them with you. Hit the like button, subscribe for more, hit that little bell icon so you guys get notified when my next video comes out. Stay tuned for more on this beast of a car as well as the Chevy SS, you guys, and I'll talk to you on my next video.